welcome everyone back to No Capes, the show where we talk about creator-owned comics with creators who own comics. With me today is creator of the Granties and many other incredible things, Grant Stoye. Grant, tell everyone a little bit about yourself.
Hello, I am middle-aged and I sound like a middle schooler, but it's something I've just come to live with. I also am currently doing side quest, a fantasy comic based on D&D. I did Yule, which is a holiday horror anthology, and yeah, I do a podcast called The Comics Cave with Comics Yeti, and I made the Granties. Basically, everything I do is because I just want to do stuff, and I don't really wait for permission.
Preach into the choir. Yeah. Comic, D&D, random zine, board, card game. Just, I see a thing, I think of a thing, you gotta do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why not, you know? Like, that's a key thing. Like, hey, if you're watching this right now and you want to do a thing, just go and start reading about it and learn how to do it. Doesn't matter if you're good at it or not, doesn't matter if you sell it or not, but if you want to make a thing, you can learn how to make a thing. And if it's about TTRPGs, comics, or board games, feel free to hit me up. I will send you some resources. I'm no expert, but I know where the resources are.
Yeah. Plus, it's not like there's no one around to say no, don't do that. Well, unless it's within reason.
Well, yeah, within reason. But, like, yeah, if you want to make a thing, you can do it. You don't have to be an expert in the thing to do the thing. I am not an expert in anything I do. But, actually, Robin and I, my partner, were just having this discussion yesterday. In that, like, I'm not an expert in anything that I do, but I have learned what I need to know to make the thing I want to make. You know, I might not know anything beyond that. Like, I learned everything I needed to know to write and format and publish a D&D adventure. But try to get me to write an entire D&D source book or write a whole new TTRPG? Nope. I would not have the foggiest clue where to start.
And plus, that just seems like years of work.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, you can learn. You can always learn how to do a thing. And you don't have to learn everything about that skill or craft just to make the thing you want to make. Like, I'm not a 3D printing expert, but I 3D printed and painted that. So just, yeah, the internet is a beautiful thing. There are people that you can talk to, like us, and other people. There are blogs, there are online courses, there are YouTube videos. Even TikTok's got a surprising amount of really informative stuff about niche hobbies.
Yeah.
So
and the cool thing is with talking to people with shared interests, like it's surprising how many people are more than willing to like give you their time to teach you about their passion.
right, exactly. Like you and I were talking about just before we started recording. You know, like I got some really, really important and helpful writing feedback from Derek Robertson last year, and he didn't have to do that. He's a busy working professional. But he said he'd have a look at my script and give me some feedback on it, and that was really lovely. You know? He doesn't have to do that, but he did. It's surprising. And, like, some of the people I've had on this show, you know, like, I'm talking to Cullen Bunn at some point this season, and, like, Cullen didn't have to give me his time. He's also, like, he's one of the busiest people in comics right now.
He's got 19 books out a month.
Yeah. Now, speaking of side quest, I have the first volumes. I haven't read them yet because I'm going back and forth on whether I want to wait for number 4 or not. Because I've looked at it and I'm like, this looks so up my alley and like it is completely my jam that I don't know if I want to read these and then have to wait.
Yeah, well, if you think about it, you'd also have to wait for the last issue to number 5.
I know.
So,
I know.
so even if you're caught up to 4, does that mean you'd wait even all the way to 5?
Maybe. I don't know if I could, you know, like it's they're on here. You know, like I have gone to pick it up and the other day and I'm like, yeah, but 4. I can't decide. Like, do I want to wait and binge read the entire story?
I would recommend just going with them when they come. Like
I think I'm gonna, because like I was putting it off, and then I realized that there was going to be a number 5, and I was like, oh, okay, that's gonna be a long wait, and I don't know that I can actually wait that long to read this book.
Well, I think you'll really dig it because we wanted to borrow as much from D&D and Pathfinder and TTRPG elements as we could, and it's great because everyone that works on the books plays.
Yeah,
Like Tobin and
yeah,
Allaire are big RPG fans. Brenda plays D&D. Stephanie plays D&D. Like
yeah, cool. That's
you
awesome.
can, yeah.
Well, obviously, you know, like the point of the show isn't to grill my guests and interview them like mad, but for the sake of the audience, give us just like a quick Cliff Notes synopsis of side quests so that we can encourage them to go and back number 4 right now.
Oh, right on. It is a fantasy book that takes a look at escapism. Uh, and the thing is, even about talking about it, I can't tip my hand as to like what the twists are in this because it's very pertinent to people. I'll say in their 30s, or just young adult professionals in general.
Okay, yeah,
Um,
all right. I'm as soon as I finish work today, I'm gonna sit down with the first 3. You've got me because that's it. I am in my 30s, freelance working professional in both marketing and creative fields. So, and I play D&D.
oh yeah.
I play D&D. I've played Pathfinder once. I am currently designing something for Pathfinder. So you know, like all of those things combined, you've got me.
Oh yeah. And another thing I forgot to mention is Martina, who does the color art. She is huge into Pathfinder, and the amount of attention she puts into creating a fantasy atmosphere in every panel is just incredible.
That sounds
But
fantastic.
yeah,
Um,
so everyone is huge in RPGs. I think that's really evident.
Speaking of Pathfinder, though, have you seen the Pathfinder Character Chronicles from Beadle and Grimm?
I've not.
They're
To be honest, the most Paizo stuff I've played is Starfinder. I never actually have played Pathfinder.
well, definitely check those out and send them along to your friends that have played in on the team because they're I've only played Pathfinder once on a stream because some friends invited me to play on their show. But Beadle and Grimm's have created these character journals, but they're not just like character sheet journals. They're rulebook and journal in one. So all of the rules for your character class are included in that book.
Oh, I like that.
So you don't have to pull out the core rulebook because the Pathfinder core rulebook is massive. I've been pouring through it at the moment because of the thing that I'm designing,
Yeah.
and it's huge. But so these are just the stuff about sorcerer or rogue, etc. Just those rules are in there, and then it's got a bunch of like handouts that you can pull out if you need to, and your character sheet stuff, and like all kinds of cool things, and then like these awesome hardcover sort of leather bound looking books.
So I gotta write this down so I don't forget what it is. Beetle and Grimm.
Mm-hmm.
This
And-
is so unprofessional, but I need to do this.
No,
'Cause
it's
also,
not.
ADHD
That's
is
exactly
great.
no. But this is the point of the show. You know, this is how it goes. It's I've actually I think I've mentioned it almost every episode this season because this season has been a very much talk about everything and get off track season. But the comic
great.
is here to facilitate the conversation.
Mhm.
You know, like it's not the conversation is never restricted to just the comic. Obviously, we love the comic and want to hype it up as much as possible. But the point of getting together is just to sit down and talk shop with the other creators. And this comic gives us something to target talking shop. But obviously, other stuff's going to come up and it's really cool and I love that. Because, like,
Yeah.
everybody gets to talk about the things that excite them, which is, you know, joy is interesting to me. Like, joy is
Yeah.
interesting.
Oh yeah.
To sit down and listen to creatives talk about the things that bring them joy is delightful. So to be a part of that conversation is even more delightful. But moving away from D&D talk, well, let's introduce the book that we're actually talking about today,
Yes.
which is The Wilds by Vida Ayala and Emily Pearson. Emily is a former alum of No Capes, which was really delightful. And I'm... Vida, if you are watching this, hello. Please, I would love to have you on the show. Like, you and Danny are like top of the list for people I want to have on the show real soon. So if you are interested in coming on and having a chat about a comic that you love, please hit me up. I would love to have you on the show. I read so much of your work, and it's incredible. And let's talk. But yeah, Emily's been on the show, and I can't recall what comic we talked about right now with Emily, but it was a really fun chat. So to get to talk about something that Emily's worked on now is really cool.
Yeah, full circle now.
Yeah. So do you want to just give everyone a quick cliff notes of what The Wilds is about?
Yeah, it is an end of the world zombie tale, but with a different take on the zombies. The mutation that gets people to lose their humanity, it's grotesque in that it turns them into plants, and like these beautiful flowers are sprouting out of their heads, and it's alternatingly horrifying and beautiful. And
Yeah.
we see this scavenger who has this badass car has to go around and accomplish tasks despite like her whole world falling apart around her, and both literally and figuratively.
Yeah, it's a pretty incredible story, and like it's like the oh, what are they called? The mushroom zombies
Yeah,
that they
yeah.
cordyceps. That's the one.
Plus, like I'm 50-50 with mushrooms on pizza. I don't think, and those are just innocuous.
Right. I don't like mushrooms in general, let alone zombie mushrooms.
Yeah.
Um, Wicked and the Divine actually was what I talked about with Emily.
Oh, right on.
Yeah. So that was a really cool chat actually. So yeah, this. Oh, cool. I forgot that Danny was the editor on this.
Were they really?
Yeah, they were.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm...
Oh, cool. And Marissa was the colorist. Again, forgot about that. Marissa has been on so many books that I really, really love. Like Grumble was a book I covered in season 1. And
Yeah.
that was really awesome. Like the coloring work on that was something I raved about through the whole episode. So yeah, this is an all-star team.
Yeah, no kidding. I remember I initially read this in a library like 5-6 years ago, and the only person I recognized at the time was just Vita. So
Yeah.
it's really funny to look back on this and be like, oh, I know these people are all great.
Yeah, and so like yeah, seeing people who I've gotten to know in the community starting to write all my favorite properties, it's just like okay, I wasn't going to buy any more superhero books this year, but since you're writing this, I'll have that. And like Skylar Patridge is getting us so much cool stuff with DC and Marvel
Yeah.
right now,
Mhm.
and that's so cool to see.
Yeah. Oh, and also one thing I wanted to touch on in the wilds. So Emily's art is fantastic.
Yes, it is. It's incredible.
And I think I learned that she was like what, 19 or 20 when she did this?
Yeah, all right.
And it's just like, you're not supposed to be that good that young. That's upsetting.
I I wasn't that good at that age.
Oh,
I'm
God.
not that good now.
Yeah. As someone who specializes in birds with lips, I know that feeling. I think it's all right to have a bit of like, I guess I'll just, for lack of a better term, I'll call it healthy jealousy, because that's the stuff that you admire and you wish you could do. Like, if I'm watching like a baseball game, it's like, man, I'm so jealous that that guy can throw a ball 90 miles an hour with break.
Right?
I wish I could do that. And now that we're flipping around through stuff, I'm back to the initial credit page, and I'm seeing Chris Sheehan's on this.
Yeah.
Natasha Alterici did covers. Tim Daniel did the logo, of course.
Yep.
So
Yep.
there's just like, this is just ridiculous. How many
Honestly,
people are involved with this.
I think that's the 5th Tim Daniel design that I've covered this season.
Oh, right on.
'Cause
Well,
we've done a
the man
few-
does good work.
Yeah, we've done a bunch of Vault books that Tim Daniel did that production design on as well.
Mhm. Yeah,
And-
everything about this is just gorgeous.
Yep, and it's really interesting too, because like immediately on the first page there is a scene of incredible violence, but it's all cool tones.
Soon to get back there. I was flipping ahead because I get so obsessed with how Emily's able to get all these panels. Like, I've seen a couple 8-panel pages that she's doing, and that stuff never ceases to amaze me.
Right?
That number one, she's confident enough to do that and arrange it in a way that looks good. And number two, that like she trusts Vita enough to write that stuff, and Vita's able to trust Emily to accomplish it. It's
Yeah.
just
It's really lovely seeing teams like that. Like,
Hmm.
I try to stick with no more than 6 panels at the moment when I'm drawing stuff and writing stuff, because I don't know how to write a multi-panel page that well yet, like that, like intense panel page. But yeah, that's the thing that I really loved about this book initially. Seeing it is like the juxtaposition between like these sort of calming, cool, muted tones
Yeah,
and this like all-in brawl that's happening.
and I'm I know I've mentioned it before about how lovely the flowers and stuff are.
Oh yeah, the that was also one of my top things was the botanical drawing through this book is incredible.
It's spot on, it's beautiful, and the thing is that beauty is just horrifying. That something that looks like that and is that inviting is so terminal to humans in this world.
Right?
Gosh, and I'm also obsessed with the car and the mask as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. Yeah, that was something I loved. Like that was what got me into it. I'd seen a couple of covers, but I've already forgotten what the cover for this first issue looks like. To be honest, as we've
Side silhouette with the mask and the flowers.
yeah. I think I saw that one, and there was another one that was more of like a front on
Oh, right
portrait
on.
of with the mask on and just like the intense eye contact, and I was like,
Mhm.
oh, I need to know what this is about.
Well, it's like the Erica Slaughter effect from something in
Yes,
Killing the Children.
yes,
Like you just see a dynamic white on black mask, and all you see are just the eyes, and it's just very enticing to
yeah.
want to know like what's the reason behind it.
Right? I got to find myself a something is killing the children sketch cover to mess around with.
Oh yeah, good
I
grief.
saw Skylar did one a little while ago and it looked incredible.
Skylar did something incredible. This is my shocked face.
Yeah, yeah, like it.
Oh
But
god.
yeah, like you're not wrong. Like let me just get to a close up panel here. Let me just change. Like it's incredible. Like you said, like how something so inviting and beautiful is actually like the worst thing in the world.
Hmm.
You know, like we've got the panel where the main character is rescuing this guy on the road, and there's this couple, and the lady's got these beautiful purple petals like running up her face, but they're trying to either eat or infect this guy.
It's haunting. It is super haunting.
Yeah, and honestly, like this book was one of the ones that got me wanting to do No Capes.
Yeah.
So I had the idea about doing it as like a live talk show and just talking about them. I was like, hey, Frankie, do you want to test this theory out with me and come on and do this? And he's like, oh, yeah, let's do it. And so we did the first pilot episode about She at the Tower of All That Is Known. It's now known as the Lost episode because I fucked the audio.
Oh. Yeah.
And that this was one of the books that I was reading at the time when I had that idea. And I'm like, I want to talk about that book. So it was so nice to when because like we talked about doing this last season, and then my schedule went to hell and your schedule went to hell, so we didn't get to do it. And then when I was looking at your suggestions again, and I saw this, I'm like, yeah, that's the one. That's it. I've been wanting to talk about this since season 1, so we're doing it.
Yeah.
Because this was honestly one of the books that inspired me to want to create content hyping up these non-superhero books, because it was such a beautiful book and such an engaging story. And funnily enough, I was actually playing Zombies Run at the time as well, which is like a fitness app game.
Oh, that's funny.
Um, it's just to help, like, because before my ankle injury started playing up too much and I couldn't run anymore. But you put your headphones in and it plays off like a radio play, but it's connected to your phone GPS, and you are the supply courier, and you're running from the encampment to a location to retrieve supplies, and then back to the encampment, and you've got to stay ahead of the zombies. And every so often, like, you run and you're hearing the story come through over the radio chatter as if you're being radioed to and stuff.
Oh,
And then they'd be like, shit, they're surrounding you. We don't have enough ammunition. And you've got to, like, leg it all of a sudden. So you're getting like a hit workout. You get your normal sort of no, normal pace jog, and then they're like, suddenly there's zombies surrounding you, and you have your phone with the GPS, and it starts flashing red, and you have to outrun the zombie horde, and then it slows down again, and you get back to the story and all that sort of thing. So I was playing that as I discovered this book, and so I was just like, this is amazing. This is perfect.
Oh yeah, it's a nice little overlap.
And
And plus, it's
yeah,
nice to cover books like by publishers like Black Mask and stuff like that aren't big, but have
ex-
some really critically lauded books.
yeah, exactly. And that's it. Like I've been joking that this is almost the Vault show.
Yeah.
Because I end up talking about so many Vault books because they're so good, and Vault has grown so quickly. It's incredible. I love the like the quality of in terms of titles and creators that they've signed, but like the company itself has grown so fast. It's
Oh yeah.
amazing. Excuse me, got the hiccups. So, but I love how we see more stuff through the book about these zombies. You know, like another zombie comes and picks up that the purple flowered woman that they just shot, and like gently and delicately puts her up against a tree, and then the flowers start spreading across the tree. So like, is that an instinct, or is there still some intelligence there?
That was the other thing that I thought Vito was really clever with how they were writing, is that the flowered zombies, they're never overly aggressive.
Mm.
They're always kind of like just meandering around. They're not really charging after anyone. It's just always measured and even. And I think a calm menace like that is just as scary
Yeah,
because you don't know when that snap's going to happen.
right. They're still trying to get you,
Hmm.
but well, again, in the case that they're zombies, they don't have to chase you.
Yeah.
They can just follow you, and eventually you're gonna get tired. They're not gonna get tired.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And this. Oh,
so
sorry.
you go.
I was gonna say this has a lot of elements that remind me of The Walking Dead, where it's not the zombies are of course like a real looming threat constantly, but the main purveyors of pain in this are just humans versus humans.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was gonna say as well. Humans are the worst monsters in this show. So yeah, like what were we saying? We're saying, oh yeah, the humans. The
Yeah.
humans are like the most monstrous in this world. Like there's so much betrayal in the camps. Like the survivor camps, there's just backstabbing and sneaky shit and
Hmm.
so much going on behind the scenes.
One thing I know I keep harping on Emily's work. It's just because it's staggering.
It is.
Uh,
It's
when she
it's phenomenal.
yeah when she portrays someone getting shot or like getting hacked or punched or anything like that, it's it's again kind of spooky the way there's no over exaggerated reaction to being shot. Like everyone
Yeah.
has a calm demeanor. There's this page I've been flipping forward while we're talking because my Kindle only has like 7% charge. And I want to make sure I talk about the things I was excited
Yep.
about.
Yep.
There's this page on like page 116, top panel, where this woman is holding a gun and part of her face is getting shot off. It's completely placid demeanor.
I think. Oh no, I don't think I have that one here. I just skipped forward to like page 16, and my page 16 is where the car turns up at the gates of the camp. So I
Yeah,
can't.
this is like 116.
Oh, yep. I've only got issue one, not volume one, up in front of me, so I won't be able to show people that today. Sometimes I have a whole volume, but generally I grab like the first issue so I can show people what's either on sale for $1.99 or sometimes free.
Yeah,
And
this was on sale for I think it's 6% off, so I ended up paying like 15.99 instead of 16.99.
nice. Um, That I would have loved to have grabbed that, but unfortunately, that's US dollars, which add an extra 30%.
Buh. Ugh. And
Um,
I'm also kind of obsessed with how Vita portrays interpersonal relationships. Like
yes,
the tender moments are so tender, and there's a lot of quiet moments despite all the tumult around. And I think they do such a good job of capturing that intimate dialogue moments, or just even intimate moments in general.
yeah. Something I'm noticing that I really like with um, Marissa's coloring here as well is that when our main character has returned to the encampment, um, they're the one, they're the only one that is fully saturated.
Huh.
Go back to like page 16, 17, where she's talking to the seedy guy with the beard and the black hair,
There we go.
and like him and the other survivors in the encampment are all mostly muted,
Yeah.
but our main character is still like fully saturated and stands out amongst all of them.
Oh, that's rad. I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, so I'm thinking that maybe that's supposed to be foreshadowing and sort of indicate that she does stand out from everyone and is probably starting to notice that something's not right,
Hmm.
and therefore is apart from the rest of them.
Yeah, yeah.
I could be, completely pulling that out of my butt.
But still, it sounds great.
Yeah. Uh, but it would be interesting to find out if that's what they were going for. Um, and then as we go inside, like the kids are desaturated a bit, but the other adults that are sort of on her squad,
Hmm.
essentially, are more saturated.
But yeah, it's just such a fun story. Well, not. It's a.
It's an
I don't want to
engaging
say
story.
yes. Saying fun kind of dismisses the dangers inherent in it, but it is a really engaging story, and it's hard not to tear through it. I remember when I was reading it in that library, I just downed it in one sitting
Yeah,
because you can't put it down.
yeah. I remember I was reading it as it was coming out,
Oh
and
wow.
I let me tell you, like you probably know the old the ADHD frustration
Hmm.
of I want to do the thing and I can't do the thing. Like there's literally nothing I can do about it to change the circumstances that I can't do the thing.
Yeah.
So reading this book as it came out was painful. It was so painful because, like again, like when the first issue ended here, it ends on such a cliffhanger.
Hmm.
This guy turns up in the broken and burning car, and just it finishes on like that mostly blank page with just a speech bubble. They're coming.
Yeah.
Who's
I
who's coming? Is it the zombies? Is it another camp? Is it some weird marauders? Like who is this? Who's coming? Who is it? What is coming?
also I think that's a great use of a solid black.
Right?
Like I don't like too much use of that. It's like the nine panel grid. I like it in moderation.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that its use there was perfect.
Yeah, yeah, it is like that. I almost did something like this when I was working on The Man Who Found the Future.
Hmm.
In the concept of adding a final page, and I decided not to because I'm like that's too much for a 3-page comic. But I almost did something similar, and I really like it when it's executed nicely like that.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
but that's the thing. Like, that guy's possibly dying, at the very least, about to pass out as he's
Hmm.
relaying that message. And so that really drives that home. And then also, like, just is heavy. It feels heavy. Like, okay, so what? I don't know what's their coming means, but
Yeah.
it's not good.
Yeah.
It's bad. It's a big bad, and we should probably be worried about it.
I think that ominous tone is kind of carried out really well throughout the book.
Yeah,
Like from start to finish. It's just you always feel like another shoe's about to drop.
I do remember that, and like some of the the betrayals in that little intimate group that end up happening. I was like, whoa, hang on, what? No, that's not okay. Hey,
Why'd
don't
you
do.
go and do that?
Yeah, don't do that. That's not nice. Why'd you do that? But it's such an incredible book, both like work in terms of writing and world building. The art, obviously, as we talked about, like Emily's line art is gorgeous. Marissa's color work is always so evocative
Oh yeah.
and just really hammers home everything else that's on the page here. Jim's lettering never fails to be delightful. And obviously Danny had a hand in crafting and shaping this story alongside Vita
Hmm.
as the editor. So it's just such a masterwork of a book, and I'm so glad that this was one of my proper introductions to the world of indie comics. Because
Oh,
and
absolutely.
then No Capes happened from that, and so like yeah, honestly, big shout to Brian K. Vaughan, Vita, Danny, Marissa, Frankie.
Hmm.
Like reading Broken Bear and becoming friends with Frankie was one of the things that put me on this path in a big way.
Yeah, yeah.
Frankie was one of the first people that I got to talking to in the comics industry, and like just became buds with me really quick. And so that really encouraged me to both start writing and create this show. And so big shout out to all of those creators, and thank you for creating what you created, because it's inspired me on my journey. And then meeting people like yourself, um, fucking every single guest I've had on the show in the last 3 seasons. It's just really opened my eyes up to what comics can be and what community can be too.
Yeah, right on.
And so I'm so grateful I decided to make this show, because it's been life changing. But that's us approaching the hour, and we made it through the whole first book here, which hopefully everybody really liked, because I think it's beautiful
Oh yeah.
in
And
in every way. Um,
if you can buy the trade. The trade is
yeah,
real good.
yeah. I'll link Comixology for it below, but if you can get the trade, like the physical one, definitely do it, because I've I think I've got one print copy. Like I bought the number one specifically
Oh,
for
nice.
the purposes of doing a No Capes when it was a review show. And it's fine. It's gorgeous, and it's still fine on the screen. But the printing process brings out so much richness in the art that if you can afford to, don't feel obligated to. Obviously, buying digital comics is sometimes a thing that you need to do for your finances. That's why I buy digital. But if you can spare it, definitely get the trade, because it looks so nice on the page.
Hmm.
Definitely worth the treat yourself option if you can manage it.
Absolutely.
But Grant, where can everyone find you? And besides the obvious side quest that's coming out, have you got anything else on the horizon or available right now?
I have Gumroad, which is like Gumroad noun and verb, because Grant is both a noun and a verb. And I
I like
have
that. That's
Grant.
fun.
Yeah. And I have grantstoy.com. We still have physical copies of Yule left if folks want to buy those. The digital trade edition is $5 on Gumroad.
That's good to know.
Uh,
I was going to hit you up the other day about Yule, because I'm like, I missed out on the Kickstarter, but I want it, and I
oh yeah.
didn't realize you had the Gumroad. For
Oh yeah. I am garbage at promoting
Well,
myself.
honestly, I
So
think I've been on there, and then the little ADHD brain just like put that in a box somewhere.
yeah, I'm very bad at that. I create stuff and then I don't talk about it. So if you want to see me not talk about my stuff, I'm available on Twitter at Grant and Stuff, and it's just like nonsense. Twitter is my study hall.
Yeah,
I'm just,
look, your Twitter is honestly so much fun. And I know that I have sent you more than one GIF that equated to Grant. Because some of the things you tweet.
it's very irreverent, and I'm sorry, and I can't stop it.
I don't want you to stop, but you will get the over the glasses, the side eye every time.
But yeah,
Uh,
that's where I am.
Yeah. Everybody, I highly recommend going and following Grant, because he's a fun guy. His comics are great. One of the most supportive people I've met in the community, which is lovely. And obviously, like as dumb and silly as Grant wants to pretend they are, the Granties are the new hot item in the community, and I'm gunning for it this year. And I
Yeah.
know a bunch of us are. Like a lot of people might have been making funny comments and stuff about getting one last year, but it was so transparently obvious how much every single person treasured that interaction and receiving that. It's just so hard. It's because it's so wholesome and irreverent and fun. It's not stressful like the thing. It's just a fun thing to be like, hey, I really dug your comic. Here's a JPEG of a trophy with my face on it, and it was just so delightful watching everybody get excited about it. It's so nice.
Yeah, and those are going to be in June, and I think Comic Book Yeti is doing something with them. So
Awesome,
yeah,
awesome,
we've got till June.
excellent. All right, well, go follow Grant. I'm gonna link Grant's stuff below so that you can see it, and I'm gonna link my stuff below so that you can see it. As always, please like, share, subscribe, all that business, because the more that people see this show, the more attention I can get on the show and actually make it, and the bigger and more exciting I can make it. Like the more guests are gonna want to come on as well. Like the more it actually gets attention, the more people are gonna want to come on the show and chat. So if you've got people that you want to see, share it around. Let them know that you want to see them on the show. And of course, if you want to help me keep making stuff, please go check out my Patreon. It's $5 Australian for the base tier, which is like $2 or $3 American. It may be less if you're in the UK, because the pound to the dollar right now is bonkers. But yeah, you get early access to everything. You get early access to these episodes. You get playtest copies of anything that I'm releasing for TTRPGs or my board games. You'll get early previews of my scripts and pitches for anthologies and my comics and stuff like that. And when I have enough advance warning for a guest, if they're undecided on a comic, you'll also get to vote on what comic we talk about.
Oh, that's rad.
Yeah, I've done a couple of those polls, like where the guest was like, I am equally torn between all of these choices. So, alright, Patreon can decide. So, yeah, you'll get to do that, and you'll also get to help me decide what guests to bring on. Like when I'm about to launch a new season, I will put polls up to find out who people want to hear from, and those are the ones I'm going to chase down and try to convince to come on the show. So there's all kinds of fun stuff going on there, and obviously I've got the 3 Discords that I run. If you are a TTRPG creator or an illustrator in Australia, we've got a Discord for that. Or if you just want to, like me and my stuff, and want to chat TTRPGs, comics, Transformers, Gundam with myself and other like-minded people, come and join my Discord. It's a fun place. It's a nice place. It's LGBTQ and disability, neurodiversity friendly space. Come on in and have a good time. But for now, this has been No Capes, the show where we talk about creator-owned comics with creators who own comics. This has been Grant, my good friend and guest on the show today. And till next time, keep reading comics and let us know what you're reading. Bye-bye. And